All right, we're back again. Hello, everyone. Here for yet another Moonshire Monday, working on some more sprites, some more enemies. Hope everyone's doing well. Give it a few more seconds for people to file in. Ronimator, thank you for being here. Got a few more people also. Matt, Castorine, Rizel, Anthony, thank you so much for being here. Let me make sure that the levels on the stream is all right. Looks okay right now. Jonathan, hi. Let me get this moved over too. So, today, we're going to be working on those enemies that I was working on last week. I was working on... Oh, I can actually pull up the one I was working on last week. It was the Eye Baby. But I ended up not using the Eye Baby. I moved it into something different. So this is what I was working on last week. Hello, everyone. GameKey Universe, Doozy, Ratman, Dazriel, Marcus, Tez, thank you so much for being here. Like I was saying just a moment ago, we're going to be working on more enemies. I put some work into it over the past week. This is the enemy that I was working on last time, where I just basically put a big eyeball on these crawling vines, and I do like how it turned out, but I ended up going with a slightly different design because I wanted to make it fly around and be kind of crazy. Retromech, Deepmal, and Robert, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for the support. Mario, Irakli, I think. Hola, amigo. Hi. So, I decided to make this smaller enemy. There's two enemies that I'm going for. I want a small, simple enemy, and I also want a big, more complex and stronger enemy. So for the small enemy, it was going to be this one, but I decided to make it into more of like a flying thing. So I started working on this last week as well, and I animated it like this. And now it like flies around the screen, and it's pretty simple. And then for the stronger variant, I recycled another old enemy, this one, and made it into this. So actually, I can probably show the before and after, maybe. Oh, actually. Oh, this is a really old version. This is actually the paid version. This is what the paid asset looks like. And then after a few iterations, it ended up looking like... Where is that? It ended up moving to this version, which is a lot more similar to what I just showed. Ellie helped with this transition, moving from this over to this. And yeah, you can see like this is where the iris of the eyeball is supposed to go. And then, yeah, over the past week, I put a little bit more work into it, because part of the problem with this design is where the hitbox is going to be. So like up here, the hitbox is going to be something along the lines of this. And there's a lot of dead space, a lot of empty space right here that just doesn't work quite right with the shape. So, and especially like with this frame. With this frame, it's particularly bad because the hitbox is going to look like this, and there's a lot of dead space. I don't really want it to look like that. So I adjusted it to be more round. So it's smaller, more compact, and it's more round. So the shape of the hitbox is more it's more consistent with the shape of the sprite. That was the main goal, and actually that was the main goal with this as well, because before the small flying eyeball enemy looked like this, where the hitbox was down here on the bottom, and it's like, well, if I'm hitting a giant eyeball, I really want to hit it in the eye. It would be way better to hit it in the ball as opposed to the tentacles. So, whoops, and that's why I decided to change it over to this, where the ball itself is where the hitbox is, instead of having to rely on, like, you're hitting the tentacles. It just didn't feel quite as right. This is a sprite. Yeah, it's, sorry, I was looking away from chat for a hot second. Adele, hi. Sapphire and XD Sloth, thank you again for being here. So I'm going to go back to this one. Oh, and the other thing is the attack animation. I made it a little bit more upwards, so I can probably just show these enemies in actions right now. Enemies in action, I should say. Whoa. Okay, I'm going to need to fix something. Actually, no, that's not a problem. Bilal, hi, welcome in. Bilal, we have a short on the channel that's going to be coming out soon that features one of your comments. What engine do I use for making the game? It's Love 2D. So first, let's show the small flying enemy. So there he is. And he just does a little bit of a dash. Am I adding magic? Not exactly. It's hard to explain. So there is magic. It's just, long story short, I'm doing it in a non-traditional way. Undertale, yeah, I love the Undertale soundtrack. So, even though this flying enemy is really simple, I do like how it looks, and I think it fits the theme, because that's the other thing, is I wanted the eyeball enemies to kind of fit the theme of the boss, and the boss is a giant leaf eyeball. That's not it. There we go. So this is what the boss looks like. It's an eyeball with, like, roots and leaves. So, thematically, this enemy makes more sense because it's like a leaf flying guy. It's pretty adorable. I agree. It is kind of cute. And yeah, in action, I think it looks pretty good. And then the bigger one is the big hornet, which I've shown the big hornet in videos before. But yeah, it is different now, and I need to animate its stab, but I like its shoot animation more. Because it happens really quick, and I like the projectiles a lot. There is a problem with the Z buffering. You can see that the Z layering is a little bit weird with it, with the projectile. Oh, that is so cool. Ow. If the pupil grew before attacking. Yeah, there's all kinds of different tells I could add. That's a good idea. Yeah, there's still a bit of work that needs to go on this guy because the old version also had its pupil like follow the player. So if the player was like walking around, it would be looking in this direction or looking upwards. It was kind of cool. How many bosses are in the demo? Because the caves are very dark. Yeah, so in the newer version, there's not any darkness. I've decided to take that out, but there's 4 bosses in the demo currently. In this updated version, I think that there's only going to be 2 bosses in this updated version, just because there's a lot more content that's just not bosses. Because I'd say that's a problem with the current version of the demo is that it's basically just a bunch of bosses that have no real purpose. There's not much to it. The projectile is dope. Thanks. Yeah. Adding companion NPC that helps you in some way, that'd be neat. Yeah, instead of like this guy up here, if I'm being attacked by a giant hornet, like he's just standing there watching me, like you jerk. So mean. It is, yeah. So the other thing I was working on is this little area down here, and so I think I'm going to add more lights down here because it's dark. It makes sense that it would be dark in a cave, but it's just like so dark that it doesn't really look nice. Have I worked out the story yet? Yeah, in a sense. The story is coming second before the gameplay, though. Oh. When I first implemented these guys, they were way too hard. They like zoomed across the map. I had to make them slower. Yeah, there are a few bugs in the current version. Oh! That happens too fast. I think I should move that first one. There is no day or night cycle in the game. I'm actually not a fan of day-night cycles. It depends on the type of the game, because it makes sense for a sandbox game to have day-night cycles, but part of the problem with day-night cycles is that it just causes you to wait for the time of day to change, and at times that's just more annoying than anything. I really like his projectile. It's really cool. His AI is kind of dumb, though. He keeps just kind of like walking towards me. Oh, that's a new thing I added, too, is that when the torch pops on, it burns away all the surrounding bramble. The enemy looks great. Thank you. Oh, I need to turn the music in the game off. The music's actually playing, but it's so quiet that it's just underneath everything. Always day so you don't notice you're playing too long? Yeah, I've been there. Okay, let's do this again and try not to die. Adding other entities other than the eyes. Yeah, I'm going to be re-adding everything. I think pretty much every enemy in the demo is going to be added back in some way. Uh-oh, I found a bug. Oh no. I found a bug. There's a bug here. I should fix this before I forget. Okay, we need to talk about this bug. So, this is kind of hard to explain. I need to actually restart in order to make this work. I need to make a new file, actually, in order to show this. Okay, so let's start a new file, and I'll show what I just found. What happened was, I completed that challenge, I left the area, and I came back, and the reward for that challenge wasn't there when it needed to be. I make it look easy until you play it yourself. I mean, that is a problem with being a developer of the game, is that you get so used to it. So let's go to this map here, Monocle. And what I was saying is that when this challenge is completed, where you beat all these enemies, it's going to spawn a soil patch right here. But I noticed that when I left and came back, it wasn't there anymore. So I think something's wrong. Also, I might die because I'm not being careful. Okay, so I beat the challenge, and the soil patch appeared, but it's not going to be there. Yeah, it's gone. It's just missing. So I need to fix that. That's actually a really bad bug. That's pretty bad. Let's see why that was. So, challenge. This is challenge Monocle. And we can see that the reward for this challenge is soil. That's fine. Now, the problem is, why didn't it... Does it do that with the other soil? Because there's another challenge that has soil. Snow Cliff. Okay, let's try that one. I'm probably gonna die. Actually, let's give myself a weapon, and then I won't die. And then let's go to Snow Cliff. So this challenge also spawns a soil patch right here. And I'm gonna see if it also, like, it's screwed up when I finish this. You can't dodge while attacking. Yeah, when you commit to an attack, especially like with the slower weapons, that's certainly more noticeable. Okay. Soil patches spawned. Now if I leave this map and come back, it is there. Okay, so what happened? What happened? Let me see. Maybe this map is organized differently. So this is B2. No, B5. Here it is. Oh, I do something really dumb. This is a dumb way of doing it. Yeah, I'm gonna change this. So, this is kind of a hacky way to do it. I don't like this. I'm gonna change it so that it just does the reward respawn whenever the level loads. I'm gonna have to... That's gonna take a moment for me to do, but I'll do that. It's not saving the room state. It's not that it's not saving the room state. It's that whenever something... Yeah, in a sense, yes. Really what it is that every challenge, like those fights, if there's a reward, that means that the challenge itself spawns the reward. And if that challenge was already completed and you re-enter the room, that challenge is still responsible for spawning the reward, even though the challenge was already completed. So like, let's say it spawns a chest. That chest needs to be there when you come back into the room. And I think that I make it so that it's the challenge's responsibility. Actually, I don't, because like when you clear a mirage, that's just a room state thing, like you were saying. Shade Cloak, hi, welcome in. When will the new demo be out? I don't know. I'm sorry. I keep giving dates, but it keeps being incorrect. Have I changed the entire map? I changed the entire map. Every single map is different in the new version compared to the old one. It's organized in a much better way. Like, things are laid out more meaningfully. So I should fix this because... You know what? I'm starting to change my mind. I might just do it the hacky way. I think I'm just gonna do it the hacky way, because this works fine. So all that's the problem here is that I need to include an additional soil patch underneath the challenge, which is not that big of a deal. But that... I'm not a fan of this solution. It's kind of hacky. But it works. I'm more concerned with it working. So I'm just going to put this... Is it a plant or is it a misc? I can't remember. This is a plant. So I'm going to put this here. And this is going to be... I'm going to call it Soil Monocle. And challenge is Monocle. By the way, I call this is really silly. I give every room a name, like a nickname. So this room is called the Waterfall. This room is called Spikes because it has all of these spikes down here. Like this one's called Gate because it has a big gate. But so I need to give a name to some of these just random caves. And so like this one, I decided to call this one Monocle because it's just like a big eyeball and then you fight eyeball enemies. And then the room above it is Spectacle because it's two of them. It's just two eyeball shaped rooms. And then I just need to come up with a nickname for it. That's all there is to it. It's not that interesting either, but that is something that I've thought about. At least I'd get some name ideas from the OST. Yeah, I think so. Have you kept bosses and things from the old dev version? Yeah, so I think every boss and every idea from the demo, and I shouldn't say every idea, but every piece of content is still going to be in the game, but remixed in a different way because it's really important that all of the like ideas mix together nicely. But before I was kind of just making ideas as they came in, which is fine. That's cool to develop that way, but at the same time, it really felt mismatched, and I couldn't figure out how to make it all work together. What's my favorite Mario Party and Mario Kart game? My favorite Mario Kart would probably be DS because that's the one I played the most. But I think Mario Kart 8 is better. That's just I have that one and I think that was the best one. Mario Party. I don't know. I played all of them. Me and my friends played the N64 versions a lot, and I like those a lot. But I'm probably most nostalgic for the GameCube ones. Maybe 7. Is that the one on a cruise ship? There was one that was on a cruise ship, and I liked that when I was a kid. Even though I don't even remember anything about it. Are there any bosses you feel like don't match or change? No, I think I'm going to keep all the bosses. I think all the bosses that are in the demo currently are going to stay, but make them a little bit different, and they're going to be introduced in a way that's not quite so random, because it's more of a pacing thing. I want to introduce mechanics as they come in, and I want the game to be open, but also I'm explaining this poorly. What I mean is the game starts off linear, where you're being taught the mechanics, and you go up through one first boss, and after that point you're kind of let loose where you can do things more freely. Whereas the current demo, it just doesn't have any goals. There's no guidance. It's too open. Is my camera lagging? It looks like on OBS my camera's lagging. I'm sorry about that if it is. It's always stream time. Let's go. Yeah. This is the kind of info you find in a random short after Moonshire has won Game of the Year. I hope so. That'd be so cool if it wins Game of the Year. That's a bit ambitious. I don't know if Moonshire will, but I hope it does. That would be so awesome. All I'll say is, like, Moonshire is kind of a modest project. I don't see it winning any big awards like that, but maybe in 10 years when I'm working on something new and I have a bigger team behind me, maybe I could win Game of the Year on something someday. Oh, you had the red Wii. I love those. I do like how compact they are. There was something about them that was frustrating. It was like they don't have internet connectivity, I think, and that was a little annoying. But besides that, oh, I know, they don't have the GameCube backwards compatibility. That is one thing that I really like about my Wii. You can see my GameCube in the Wii next to my head. I like the Wii because it's backwards compatible. Bleh. What program am I using to map each room? This is a program called Tiled. And yeah, it really is just placing tiles to design the map and then placing in all these objects. It's a long process. Oh yeah, we were going to test and make sure that monocle is fixed. I think it is. Let me make sure I exported. So all I did was I put in the soil patch. I'm going to export this, and then let's also double check that in soil. Let me make sure I have a soil patch. I do. Okay, so there's a soil patch for monocle, and then it spawns a sunflower. So now I think that if I go to that room and complete that challenge, it will be fine. I need to make a new file again. How do I make the black transition from area to area? Well, so it's actually funny because I don't do that for every map. I do that on some of them. So, like, this map, I do not do a black transition going from this map over to this one because the vibe of these two maps is basically the same. But if I move over to, let's say, what would be a good one? I'm trying to think of a good one. I'm sorry. How about, I'm sorry, I'm having trouble thinking of a good example. How about I do this one, and then I fight this, and then I'll show you the black transition that's here. Did I find a job for the orange gem? Yeah, I did. I think I'm going to make it so that when you have the orange gem, it makes your fires burn on enemies faster, or either that or it does extra damage. So I think I'm going to make it a fire buff. Morgan, no, I have not seen that. Oh yeah, so the black transition. I'll go ahead and show that. Assuming that the person in chat was talking about this, how when you go from this map to this map, it does that. It literally is just drawing a big black rectangle that goes down, and then when it completely covers the screen, it does the instant transition to the next map, and then the black rectangle just scrolls down again. It really is that simple. Is the boomerang minigame going to be in the next update too? Yes, definitely. I really don't want there to be a removal of content. There's going to be fewer bosses, but way more fights. And then the bosses that I remove are still going to be in the game. I'm just going to put them later, in a more in a spot that makes more sense. Cloud area. I think that the cloud area is going to come after this new demo version comes out. Okay, so now if I go down here, I guess I can just go ahead and play this since not much is going on. Oh, that's the other thing is that Wolf tested this last night, and she said that it was confusing that the bridge just disappears, which, fair, I think that I should change that. I need to think of a different way to do that. I think I'm just going to reorganize this room so it doesn't have water up here. It really doesn't need it. Alright. Yeah, really, I could just get rid of the water that's right here. I could make this into just a little corridor, and then once you walk up here, it just blocks your path, and then the eyeballs swoop down. And yeah, what I was saying before is that this area, whoops, I'm glad that it's not pitch black like it is in the current Steam demo, but I think I want to add like crystals or something up on these ledges that have light sources so that it's just lit up a little bit more, because it's too dark still. Even though it has a good vibe to it, it's just, you can't see anything. Also, I died. Let's actually equip a weapon this time. The bridge should break instead of disappearing. That would make more sense. And actually, I think Wolf said the same thing. Yeah, the demo has completely different maps than what I'm playing right now. My game is smooth? Thank you. Ah! Oh my gosh, I'm getting wrecked. That's... I'm getting destroyed. How do people play this game? This game's hard. Dude, who made this? This game reminds me of Link to the Past. I love Link to the Past. I played through a Link to the Past on Wii Virtual Console. I still have it. I checked the other day, actually. A little bit more wind up for their attacks. Yeah, they're too fast. Ow. Yeah, the reason why their wind up is so quick, I'll explain in a second. Ah, I'm still getting wrecked. Oh, this game took a very, very long time, and yeah, I have lots of experience with game dev before this project. Like, I have a computer science degree and a software development career. Okay, so the thing that I'm checking on is making sure that this soil patch will spawn if I leave and come back. I think it will. Yeah, it's still here. So the bug is fixed, and let me make sure that it can... Oh, I don't have any seeds. I need to give myself some seeds. This song's a little bit loud. Did I see the Super Mario Bros. Movie? Yeah, I did see it. I loved it. I thought the music was amazing, and it was, there's a lot of cool references in it. Yeah, overall, I really liked it. They all attack you at once. Yeah, I mean, the AI should be better where they don't crowd you like that. I think that makes it unfair. Oh, I can show you this. How I made it so that the spikes can hit these guys too. You can just lure them over here. That's so funny. Ow. That hitbox was a little bit weird. There we go. My favorite boss attack I've ever coded? Probably the lightning boss, the green sphere lady. I think she's so cool and she has some really cool attacks. Like the one where she zips around the screen is really neat. Is that in the current Steam demo? I can't remember. I think it is. Oh! Whoa! Did you see that? I just lost like... the game froze for like a second. That was weird. Oh, this falling sound when you're on a platform. Yeah, that one's... The game gets really weird. That has to do with, like... I was gonna say something about the moving platforms. How someone reported that where you like, stand in front of it, and then you can, like, keep falling and getting back onto it. It, like, happens over and over again. My cam froze too? Oh, okay, maybe it was. Oh, whoops, I was supposed to pick up the torch. You think it's a good idea to use object-oriented programming to make a coin-based combat system for the AI? A coin-based combat system. I'm not sure what you mean by that, but that sounds interesting. But yeah, I think in general, object-oriented programming is really good for game development just because naturally things are organized in an object-oriented way. You spawn instances of things and they behave in a way that's similar to other instances. So if that sounds like something that your game would behave like, then yeah, totally. There's very few games that I would say that object-oriented would be bad for. Do I like calling my bosses mini-bosses, or are those different? I would call anything where if anything where it's just like one big enemy, I just call those bosses, or at least that's what I have been calling them. Favorite Donkey Kong game? I've only played a couple of them actually. I played Donkey Kong Country, and I have Tropical Freeze on Wii U, but I didn't beat it. So really, I'm not well acquainted with the Donkey Kong games. Well, I want to monetize the game. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna sell it for money on Steam. That looked weird. Yeah, when the fire kills them in the air, they get really strange looking. That looked fine. How to do colliders better? I'm actually not sure. I'm not familiar with Unity. I'm not using Unity right now. Coin-based combat system takes a group of enemies and tags only a small number of them, making them able to attack you. Okay, so it's kind of like how... And that is something that I would like to do. How right now, or like how right then, I was attacking 2 of those frog guys at once. How if there was like 4 of them, only 2 of them would be aggroed on me at once, and the other 2 would be like out on their own doing something else. Or at like keeping space. Same with like Assassin's Creed. I've been watching some gameplay of the new Assassin's Creed gameplay, and I noticed that like all the enemies, they'll just like stand there and look at you. They'll just like stand there menacingly, and then only one of them will attack you at a time. It's really weird. It's like that's not what they would do in real life, I don't think. I noticed the same thing when I was playing Final Fantasy 16. Final Fantasy 16 was even worse, where you had like a crowd of enemies, of like regular guys, and if you looked away from them, they wouldn't attack you. They would run around into your cone of vision and then attack you. It was really funny. So AI getting that right is always a big challenge. I never heard Coinbase. That sounds interesting. Why did I change the death animation? I'm still working on it, but the reason I changed it is because I wanted it to be faster. Do I have any amiibo? Yeah, I have 2. I think that you'll be able to see them if I move this up. So right underneath of the plant, there's a Samus one and a Celeste one. But it's kind of far away. It's probably too small to see. I don't want to get up right now and get it. Well, I want to monetize the game. Yeah, I'm going to sell it on Steam. All right, am I planning to do multiplayer? Yeah, I'm going to try. I haven't confirmed that, but I put in a lot of work already to make the connection between two Steam clients work. So you'll be able to connect your game with another Steam player. Like I have this menu set up, and you'll be able to like... I already have it working where you'll click on invite a friend, it'll load your list of friends, you can click on one of them, it'll send them an invite, and then they'll be able to join your game. But then now the hard part is, once their clients are connected, I need to make it so that they actually can play together. So you can see their character on screen, and here's the challenge with multiplayer is that their game needs to show everything on my screen the same way as theirs. So if we're fighting enemies, every enemy needs to be in the exact same spot, in the exact same state. They're attacking in the same direction. Their hitboxes are exactly the same at every single moment between both clients. And making that consistent is really hard because you're doing it over a network. And both games have to calculate it separately. Or at least data needs to be sent from one to the other in order to make it look the same. It is really complicated, but I think I know how to do it. I think I can figure it out. Will this game be compatible with mods? Yeah, I'm putting a lot of work into making sure it's mod compatible. Mostly because if the game's mod compatible, then it's going to be easier for other people, including people that I hire, to work on this game. Like, I have 2 people that are working with me right now, and I want to be able to assign them game development work, and making it mod friendly is basically what that entails. My favorite Paper Mario, it's 2. It's Thousand Year Door. That was the first one I played, and I still think it holds up. I didn't play the remake, though, because I am a stickler on frame rate, and the new one, unfortunately, is lower frame rate than the original, so I couldn't play it. But that's a me problem. Hopefully the Switch 2 will make it so that you can play some of the lower frame rate games in higher frame rates, because I would really like to play the new Paper Mario 2 version. That'd be neat. As a beginner in game development, would I recommend learning resource? Or sorry, would I recommend using your open source project as a learning resource? Probably not, just because that's a very complex project. I would say the best way to learn game development is to just make your own games, but they have to be simple. They have to be super easy. Like, even if your first game was remaking Pong or Space Invaders, those are the examples I always give. Even those games are really hard to make. They're not easy to make if you're new to it. They're easy to make if you've done game development your whole life, but they're not easy to make if it's your first game. So that's why I always say start with Pong, because you'd be surprised at how difficult it is to make something like that. Whereas going from Pong to a game like this is an enormous step. It takes a long time. Mr. Walnut, you've asked that question a lot of times, and I've answered it every time. I do want to monetize the game, but I'm going to sell it on Steam for money. That's how I'm going to that's how I'm going to monetize it. There's not going to be in-game ads, if that's what you're wondering. When the AI is waiting to attack you one at a time or attack you from the front, is a game design decision to make the game easier? Well, sure, I understand why they do it. It's just, it breaks my immersion when enemies act dumb. It breaks my immersion when an enemy stands there and looks at me instead of attacking me. Like, I understand why they do it. I understand that it's annoying for enemies to attack you from behind, and that's why they don't do it. But I'm also saying that it's weird. Like, in real life, they wouldn't just stand there and look at your back. They would stab you in the back. How much will it cost? Okay, it's gonna cost $10. The goal is for it to cost $10 USD. But at the same time, I don't know that for sure. It's gonna be different for each region, probably. But even then, I'm not so sure because, wow, that was quick. Even then, it's going to be a weird thing to deal with because sorry, what I'm trying to say is some regions need lower pricing than other regions because, like, for example, $10 USD in the United States is a lot easier to save up compared to $10 USD in, I don't know, South America somewhere. So it makes sense for me to charge certain countries a less amount of money that like reflects how much money they're able to save up in like a proportional amount of time. The tricky part with that, though, is that I worry people would take advantage of that. If you could VPN into Chile to get the cheaper Chile price, why wouldn't someone do that? And I worry that people would just take advantage of that kindness. But at the same time, I don't want to punish people just for having less money available. I want people to be able to play this game. How do you calculate percentage shown in the save file? At the moment, it's kind of like a fake hacky save file calculation. It's basically like you get 2 percentage points per item you've collected and something like that along those lines. Sorry if you're asking too much, but are you adding different sprite sheet for the other player? No, the other player is going to be the same as this one. It's just going to be using the die system. So like player 1 is going to be red by default, and then player 2 can be white by default, and then they'll play together like this. I might need to add like a little something else to help with color accessibility, since you really shouldn't have color being the only differentiating factor. But I think to start, this is a good first step. Put different languages in for different regions to dodge it a bit more. Well, I mean, every version of the game is going to support all languages. I'm not going to lock out languages based on what region you're in. No, this does not work. Anyone with VPNs, they somehow know, and they do not accept cards from out of the country. Oh, okay. If that's true, and actually, that's a good point. I bet Steam is very skilled at managing the pricing thing because they're aware of that. They're aware that price discrepancy between regions is very big, and they would want to lean into that and help with that problem. So I'm understanding of that. I bet that they do have this handled. And if they do have this handled, then I'm just gonna do it how they handle it because I want to charge people an appropriate price for the game. Have I played Cuphead? Yeah. I did not complete it. So I played it multiplayer with my friend, and we did a bunch of bosses. I didn't get a full experience of the game though. Steam automatically adjusts your price if you let them. All right, perfect. That's what I'll do. If Steam has a system for that built in, that sounds perfect for me. Because I'm not knowledgeable enough about world pricing and world economies to know what's appropriate for me to charge every country. There's no way for me to know that. Do I have fishing in the game? I thought about that because, you know, that's like an RPG staple to have fishing, but I decided not to. I planned a weapon, so you can have different weapons in this game, and I planned a weapon that was a fishing rod, and you would pick up the fishing rod and you could go over to water sources and fish for stuff. But I found that it just wasn't very interesting. How did split fiction go? It was cool. I watched my friends play it for a couple hours, and it seemed really neat. And it was really funny. And also there was a lot of very blatant references. That not in a bad way. I love references, and they were funny. They made us laugh every time we saw one. Will your game have achievements? Yeah, it'll have achievements. So there is one achievement in the Steam demo right now, but it's not achievable. Like, you can't get it anymore because I took it out. What code engine or apps do you use if you have Linux? I mean, I'm using Love2D right now, and you could use Love2D in Linux. Does this game have dialogue? Yeah, it does. Oh, have dialogue system like in boss battles. A dialogue system. Yeah, I'm speeding up. Yeah, I know I'm going really fast. The dialogue system in boss battles. You mean like how sometimes in story moments the bosses will like say stuff and like text will pop up at the bottom while they're talking? Because if so, probably not. Because my game won't have like voice acting or anything like that. It's too simple. But there is dialogue. Like, you can talk to characters. The only thing that's different is that I need to add better boxes for the dialogue. So I'm in the process of transitioning the fonts over to this high res font. But the border, you can see, is still pixel art, and I'm going to make this a little bit cleaner. First time on Moonshire Monday, watching my channel for a bit. Awesome, I'm glad you could be here. Did I play fan games of popular games? Shade Cloak, you are going to be very happy when you hear about my fan game channel. I'm not going to tell you about it yet, because it's a secret, but I have a YouTube channel from when I was a teenager. Actually, I started when I was 12. And it shows off a Zelda fan game that I made myself, and I think that you would find it very cool. I made it with Game Maker, and I'm gonna make a video on this channel, like, talking about it, because it's very funny, and it's very cool to see that I was, like, making games even back when I was 12 years old, and I'm 28 now. Can I put Spanish subtitles? I'm gonna make Spanish full localization for this game. I'm gonna be doing localization for all the languages, really, because like they're to Spanish. I talked about this on stream before, how I'm gonna probably do some kind of like auto localization at first to get a first run through. So like, I bet an AI could translate that, and then what I would do is I would hire a native Spanish speaking person to read through the auto-generated translation and correct it to make it sound normal and make it sound like it's how it's supposed to sound, because I bet there's a lot of words and phrases that can't be auto-translated normally. Like, for example, you could translate the word gear one-to-one, and I bet that would be fine. Items, gold, seed, red, blue. You can just translate those words with an AI because... Or like, I say AI, that sounds too controversial. You could do it with Google Translate, and that would be fine. That would get the job done. But anything more complicated... Like if you're talking to a person, this is a bit of a complicated sentence because it has a bit of slang to it. Like he says thinking. He says the word bunyip. That's like a made up word. And I don't know if an AI would be able to translate this sentence in a way that sounds normal. So that's why a first pass translation makes sense. but having someone who's actually familiar with the language be able to translate these words and these phrases into something that makes sense in that language, I think that's going to be a required step. Did I make a new UI since last Monday? I don't think so. You play Mario fan games? I'm trying to think. I played a lot of Mario fan games when I was in like high school and stuff. In Germany, we say items, which I can't. I'm sorry, I can't even try to pronounce that. I can't even begin to try to pronounce German, I'm afraid. Man, it's a little bit laggy at the moment. I'm sorry about that. Can you add roles for multiplayer, such as healer role? I do normally like that sort of stuff, but in this sort of game, I don't think that's necessary. The only thing I can think of is maybe one person can be on, like, damage over time fire duty, while the other person is on, like, damage over time spears or something like that. Like, you could specialize in different weapon types and use that to collaborate a little bit more. You think, like, the player takes his hood off? No, I don't think I'm gonna do that. That ruins the majesty of it. I mean, it could be like a Metroid moment where Lua pulls back the hood and it's like a sexy lady. I think that'd be funny, but I'm not gonna do that. Lua is whoever you want it to be. Like, underneath the hood is whatever you want. Will you make the game harder in multiplayer? Yeah, I think I would. I would probably need to add more enemies, and kind of like what someone was saying earlier, where it would veer off into different directions. So, like, let's say 4 enemies spawned. If 4 enemies spawned, it would make sense for 2 of them to go over to one guy, and the other 2 to go over to the other player. So then they'd split up, and then each player could, like, take on their own batch. Or maybe it can unfairly team up on one person, and then the other player has to go in and save them. That's also fun. Have I tried Nintendo Labo? No, I never did. But I watched plenty of videos on it. It seems interesting. Or I should say, it seems clever. Because I like the piano one. I thought was particularly cool, how it made the noise based on which key you're pressing. That's really cool. Am I going to make bigger boss versions of enemies in the new update? In this new update, it's actually the opposite, where I'm focusing more on the world itself and making the world design cohesive, because there is a bit of a problem where the current Steam demo it doesn't have much of a sense of direction. There's no goals. You kind of just like wander around and kill stuff. How many people will you allow in one game? At the moment, I'm only planning on 2, like a co-op experience with 2 players. If I allowed 4 people, for example, that's too many players in one map. Like, these little arenas for these fights, they aren't designed for more than one person to start with. Having 2 is already a bit cramped. So I don't think I'm going to be going for anything more than 2. Maybe in a later update I can make content that's designed for 4 people. That'd be fun. And I think that the logic for all the enemies would still work across 4 people compared to 2. It's just, that's more of a content and level design restriction. What type of project management tool do I use? When you say project management tool, what exactly do you mean? Because I wouldn't say I organize my project in a way like that. Like, I don't have a task board. I don't have a to-do list. I keep notes in my OneNote. So I use OneNote to keep track of, like, things I'm working on, or I guess I do have to-do lists in that, but really it's very freeform. It's not really, there's no game design document. That's something a lot of people ask about too. When I write down my ideas, no, I don't use anything like that. I just use a notebook. Whenever I have an idea, I write it down on pen and paper. I like the physical feedback of writing stuff down. I feel like I remember it better. Like, when I was in high school and I had to study for things, I would just, like, rewrite my notes, and that was my way of studying. I didn't even have to, like, pay too much attention. It's just, like, writing things down with that physical movement was enough for me to memorize it a little bit easier. It'd be cool if it's on PS4/5. It would be cool. Probably not for a long time, though. It's going to release on Steam only at first, just because console is such a big step. It's not something I'm anywhere close to. Cool. Let's see. Add pets. Something I would consider, because a lot of people do ask about pets. And I think it would be fun if, like, they were little floating minions, maybe. So in Final Fantasy XIV, you have minions that are like floating characters that follow you around. I think that would be fun. Or Castle Crashers. Castle Crashers, you have pets, and they're just like little floating guys that just follow you around. That'd be really easy. But other than that, like the aesthetic of pets in video games, it's not really something I care about very much. Now, I like pets IRL. I have a kitty cat, but I don't really care about pets in games too much. Funny how it's night and the player has a shadow. I mean, you can still have a shadow at night because there's moonlight. The rework, the notes is a solid study workflow. Yeah, I think so too. Another thing I did was I would highlight things. So I had my notes and then like I would read through them and highlight the key words. And somehow highlighting it was another thing that helped internalize it. I hate how they stand right on the edge of that water. It looks really bad. What I'm thinking about, like with duo mode, like you said, is that there would just be more enemies if there was co-op. Well, I had co-op on the same PC. Yeah, I think I would add that as well. Those are both their own challenges because when you have two players playing on the same screen, you need to like zoom out the camera to allow all of that stuff to be shown at once. And it's possible that would cause performance issues. I don't think that it would cause performance issues with my game. But it is possible that like making those adjustments to be really dynamic, that might be challenging. But I think having it work on the same PC is easier than doing it online. But they do pose different challenges. Tigris, hi. The spear's kind of strong. Yeah, there's a few weapons that are a bit OP. It also gets a little bit, when the frames drop, the spear's like, there's a dash that gets a little bit messed up. Oh, I also added dash attacks where if you roll and then attack right away, it does a dash attack. So in this case, the spear has 2 hits. There's the quick, there's a small stab like that. And then there's a big stab, like, there's a big stab that comes right afterwards. But if you do a roll stab, it always does the big stab. So you can like dash attack. Water's looking good, thanks. Can I parry in the game? Not yet, but what I want to add is when you dodge in place. So when you dodge, you do a roll. But when you dodge in place, I want to make that the parry. When you dodge in place like that. And you can just dodge, or you can parry things. Is the boomerang the only ranged weapon? I think boomerang is going to be the only ranged weapon. So I'm going to add a staff that like shoots stuff off in an arc, but I wouldn't really call that ranged. I haven't fought this boss for a long time. Yeah, this needs some work. I hope the finished game would have like 4 hours of gameplay. Let's parry every enemy attack. I mean, I would like that, honestly. Ooh! That's kind of strange. Did I make the camera zoom in and out? You can zoom it in and out with the settings. So I can, like, make it zoom really far out, like this. Or zoom it in really far. So actually, since I have that step dynamically already working, it kind of means that doing the local multiplayer won't be too bad, since it's already flexible. He spins now? Yeah, he's a spinny boy. Ow! Would you add, like, game time slow or sort of impact frame for anything? So it's hard to see, but that's already in the game, actually. When you hit any enemy, it does a like 2-frame pause, or like a 0.1 second, no, like a 0.01 second pause. So what you're describing is like how in Zelda games, when you slash and hit an enemy, it very briefly like freezes the game. And it's supposed to be like an impact moment. And it works. It really does help like provide that impact. And that is in this game too. It's just very minor. And in fact, I might have to disable it during multiplayer because I don't want people to feel that while they're... It is so minor. It is hard to even see. Ow. If the full game... No, so I'm hoping the game won't be super difficult. I don't want it to be difficult. It's difficult right now just because it's not balanced. But that's the other thing, is that no one's playing this version besides me and Wolf. So that means that like I haven't really started even balancing it in terms of difficulty. The footsteps and dust pixel art. Yeah, I could see that. Let me see. It's yeah, I could move it up and over a little tiny bit. It's a little low. How do you see player HP? Oh yeah, I turned that off. Hide HUD. There we go. Woo! Oh my gosh. This boss is hard. It is funny that like I'm going on stream and just dying to my own enemies. It's pretty obvious that I need to make things a little bit easier. But by the way, if I do get the balancing way off, I included an assist mode where you can do health +2, health +5, and look, it just changes your health up here. So if I am way off base in the balancing during these testing phases, you'll be able to get through it with that. A really stupid hard one to play. I'm sure I'll have at least one like mega boss. That'd be fun. Are the shadows from the enemies generated separately from the actual enemy sprites? Yes, they are separate. The enemies, like, they decide which shadow sprite they want to have, but no, there's a shadow file that just iterates through every enemy and calculates where the shadow needs to be drawn for that enemy. And same with the player. The shadow for the player is a separate sprite from the player. It's not baked into the image itself. You should do damage indicators. I do. So it's hard to see, but when you hit an enemy, look, a heart pops off of him. And when I hit him with a strong attack, like this one, it does 2 hearts. So there are damage indicators. It's just every attack is either 1 damage or 2 damage. Ow. Can you stun? Not really, but there's like hit stun. So it's hard to see, but when he's winding up any attack and you hit him, his animation stalls for a bit. Like right there, it's kind of hard to see, but when I hit him right as he was about to bite, it gave me a slight moment to roll away because he was stunned. When I say difficult, I mean 5 to 8 tries per boss. I mean, yeah, I like that too. There were bosses in Elden Ring that I thought were too far, especially Shadow of the Erdtree. I thought that game had some really annoying ones. I wouldn't really want to take it that far. I would want everything to be completable by everyone, really. In dark cases, did you consider making particles that emit light? Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I could do something like that. Jeez, how much HP did I get this dumb guy? This is way too hard. There we go. That looks really stupid. That does not look good at all. Until they're revived. That's a cool idea. Like in co-op mode. Yeah, I think it'd be fun if you die in co-op mode, you lay on the ground and your partner has to come over and revive you. That's a cool idea. What is the lore? I haven't finalized it yet, so I don't think I'm gonna say. Just that the moon's about to explode and it's about to shatter and you need to stop it. Oh my gosh, this song's loud. Okay. When the shadows overlap, are they seamless or can you see overlapping? Oh, you can. Let's see if I can show that. How about here? So This is really hard to see. Oh yeah, you can see it. It's very hard to see, but I'll use the magnifier to show you. Okay, so here's this. And if we zoom in, the two shadows are overlapping. We can see that the player shadow and the dummy shadow overlap, and it makes a slightly darker shade. And if there was another object in here with a shadow, it would also overlap and create a darker shade. The magnifier? Yeah, on Windows, you can press Windows Plus, and it opens up this little program. It's just a window that you can see. And then it just, wherever you hover your mouse, it zooms in. So we can like see really closely on the player like this. I use it sometimes on stream just because there's a lot of really small things on Windows. Especially like Windows Explorer. Look how tiny this is. It's so little, you can't see anything. So I use Windows magnifier on Explorer a lot so you can see this stuff sometimes. Cool little trick. Also, when you attack the flying eyes, they could emit light. Ooh, that's a cool idea. Oh, that is one thing. In the Steam version, in the Steam demo, the eyeballs have like an extra layer of drawing where they pierce the light completely. Zoom in from VSC. Zoom in from VSC. I'm sorry, I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. If you type CMD in pathbar, it opens CMD in that location. Wow, I didn't know that. Let me try that. In the pathbar. Okay, let's try it. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna go to. Wow, it worked. Look at that. It worked. That's a really cool tip. I never knew that. I'm gonna use that. I used to use. You could shift right click. And then, well, actually, it looks like you still can. So in Windows, you can shift right click, and then there's an open in terminal option or open PowerShell window here. Linux shell? What the hell? I don't remember installing this stuff. But yeah, there's a lot of Windows tricks. You can open images in Visual Studio Code and zoom. Oh, sure. So it's not a problem with zooming in images. It's a problem with, cause sure, I could open up those images I was just looking at. So I could go into sprites and enemies, and yeah, if I wanted to zoom in, I could like open up Slime Blue in some kind of like image editor like this one and zoom it in like that. That's not what I mean though. What I mean is that like if I wanted to show you like my file paths or like a setup of how everything looks in File Explorer. Like this is as big as I can make the text here, and it's pretty small for you to read some of these words, and that's why magnifier is useful. I really am asking a lot. It feels like it's spam. It's not spam. It's not spam. It's only spam because someone spammed last week, and what they were doing is they were copying, pasting their same message and sending it within seconds. Like if you wait a minute between your message, that's not spam. That's not spam at all. It's only spam if you just send it over and over and over and over and over, nonstop, back to back. A donation, thank you, SSJ9K. The impact pause adds so much weight to your hits. As someone just getting to game dev, I'm learning so much from following you. Thank you so much for saying that. I appreciate the donation. Thank you so much. The impact hit is so real. I always use Wind Waker as an example of that because I feel like it's super noticeable in Wind Waker. If you jump slash any enemy, it like the freeze in the game is very noticeable, and it makes the impact feel very real too. I'm a big fan of that tactic, but it is something I'm going to be cautious of because like imagine if you were playing Wind Waker multiplayer. Imagine if that was real, and then your friend is like jump slashing a bunch of enemies and it's freezing the game constantly. It's like juddering. I don't think that would be very good. So I'll probably turn it off for multiplayer. Terminal File Manager is pretty cool for showing preview of files. Oh, okay, that's cool. That'd be a good idea. Because yeah, before I've just been using magnifier for my videos. Has insane freeze frames. Yeah. Oh, hi, Wolf. Hi, welcome in. I figured that you would know about that more than anyone else. So you're adding one more attack to the hippo boss, or is that it? I'm not sure. It's moving around because at first the hippo boss was going to be the first boss, but now I'm changing it back to where Iris, the big one. I'm gonna change it where this is gonna be the first boss again. So this boss is gonna come right after those eyeball enemies I was showing earlier, and he's going to summon some of those flying eyeball guys. And he has a laser attack, but I don't know if I can use it because this was the first boss that was designed for the whole game, and I love this laser attack here. But the problem with it is it only shoots left and it only shoots right. You can't really use this to shoot at a diagonal, and so I haven't really been. I kind of don't think I'm going to be able to use this animation here. So instead, I think I'm going to make it so that this guy like tackles you. Maybe he can float up and slam the ground as a ground slam attack. And then, yeah, he also has this animation here where he like squirts out something. Maybe he'll squirt out enemies and give birth. From last stream, yeah, there's this guy. I started working on this guy last stream. And same with this. I was trying to find a way to utilize this eyeball shape. Gives birth. It's gonna give me an age rating issue, showing live birth on stream. Alrighty. His leaves come up when they loose up. That's an interesting idea. Like, maybe as they lose HP, because I've been wanting to do that. Where maybe as you do more damage to this boss, the veins get more pronounced. You mentioned maybe the leaves can get torn up or fall off. It would be cool if the boss could look weaker over time. There's a boss in Isaac that hugs the wall and shoots a laser while moving from left to right. Oh, that's a cool idea. I know what you're talking about. That's a good one. Because you would have to like dodge through it in this game. That'd be kind of neat. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, so it can like, oh, Wolf, I love that idea. That is so clever. That is so smart. I actually really, I love that idea so much. So what you're suggesting is this boss starts shooting the laser, but like it like goes down the whole screen. So it's like a horizontal line that you have to dodge through. That's such a good idea. Okay, I am gonna do that. These frames are gonna have to change because it's more of an impulse, and I'm gonna change it to be more of like a stream laser, which I can still use these frames over here for that. In fact, I might try to reduce this down to only a few frames because it doesn't need to be this big. Home menu screen looking good. Yeah, thank you. I think it's looking good too because I just hired Tony to up the resolution of this. Yeah, so in the Steam demo version, this text is low res, and same with this text. So I started using the high res version of these assets, and then I paid Tony to make a new version of all this art that is like 50% higher resolution. So it's still pixel art. You can still see the pixels, but it's more detailed, and I like it a lot. A spinning laser? A spinning laser sounds cool, but that does sound hard to implement and hard to draw. A panning horizontal laser would be much simpler for me to do. The rewards for killing a boss more impactful and resemble the boss better. Yeah, I agree. Right now, I don't have that at all. But I'm with you. That would be way better. Like, the lightning boss gives you a lightning ability. That one's good, but all the other ones are kind of bad. Hi, Chalcade. Hi, welcome in. Do you have any ideas for what the story will be? Well, the story is going to be really simple, so I'll show you the opening cutscene. It's just that you see that Moonshire is in danger, and things are getting a little bit dicey. The moon's starting to crack. Oh, you can hear it too. I made sound effects for it. But then something happens where it undoes it. So I'm kind of implying that that's like a vision. It didn't actually happen, but since you see it through your telescope, that's like you're called the moon about to explode, and so you want to figure out what's up and then do something about it. So that's the inciting incident, and that's really the only story so far. And then from there, though, you go into town. So like you go through the first couple fights, and then you make it to town. And like I'm gonna put a guy up here that says, "Oh, the gate's closed. We can't get into town." And the town's being attacked by those frog enemies. So if I walk over here, maybe this guy will complain about how they're constantly under attack, and you go over here, and more of these frog guys come up. So really, it's not a hard set story. There's not really any characters either. It's just like a world building. The world's in danger, and you need to figure out what's going on. And really, even in this updated demo, I don't think that it's going to be very story heavy. I think that it's, as long as I have the goals set. Did the sword icon in the menu get revamped? Yeah, it did. It got revamped when I added the menu system here, where you can change between weapons in the menu. I drew this icon for that. Will the game ever be available for Android? Not until after release. So I'm considering mobile, and I would like to include mobile as an option, but not in the initial release, and not for a while, because posting a game to mobile is very difficult. It takes a lot of work. And, geez, my chat system is getting a little bit weird. It keeps, like, flashing and moving around weirdly. I think it was the build before this last one that I changed the icon. Because before, the sword used to be in the same, like, category as, like, the gauntlets. In the finished game, do you have any ideas for how Lewis saves the world? Yeah, I have some ideas. I have some ideas, but I don't have anything finalized because it's all dependent on the content of the game. I don't really want to force a story into the game if the game doesn't support that story. So I have plenty of ideas. I have a lot of... In fact, I really think people are going to love the ideas I have because they're quick, concise, and confident. I don't want to spend a bunch of time recounting a bunch of lore and making it deep and crazy. But I think that the visual storytelling and like showing don't tell, I think that the ideas I have for that are going to be nice. Maybe you could add some kind of deceiving mechanics, like one of the boss could fake copies of himself. Oh, that's a cool idea. And really, I have that theme planned later on. You'll see, I can't spoil it yet. But the eyeball enemies are going to have a theme of dispelling, like, what do you call them? Fake things. Open up walls. I'm not explaining that well at all. Mirages. So in this game, there's going to be like pretend like there's a secret fake wall here. And the eyeball enemies have some skill that dispels those mirages, and you'd be able to go in through the door here. I think that idea is really cool, and but it's not going to be in this updated demo. I still have a lot to flesh out with that concept. The reason I'm going in that direction with that idea is because it's so hard for me to explain these ideas without illusions is the word I was looking for. Thank you, Lunar. Mirages / illusions. Is there's going to be illusions in the game, and then the eyeball ideas, I don't know. Sometimes it's really cringy for me to talk about things that are in my head when I don't plan them out yet, because they're just ideas, and I don't really have anything concrete to show with them, and then I just ramble, and then it doesn't sound very cool. But you'll see. All I'll say is you'll see, and it'll be neat. You're on the right track with like dispelling illusions. I think that concept is something that I can associate with the eyeball enemies. I'll go ahead and show one that I had planned. So in this room, this enemy is looking to the left, and that's because there's a secret wall over here. I already have it planned. If I survive. I like that effect a lot. Oh! Oh, I should have got hit there. That was lucky. Save me. It's so funny. Yeah, that didn't work. He can just shoot me. The frame rate's really dropping. But yeah, I have I played a short hike? No, I actually never did. I watched a playthrough of it though. I like the idea, and I like how short it is. I like how it's a small contained world that interconnects on itself in meaningful ways. That's what this game is like. I love that principle of a game. It's small and dense. That's how games should be. So, man, do you guys see them? The chat on my stream keeps like rewinding in weird ways. I'm gonna see if I can do something about that. So there's a secret wall behind here, and at some point I'm gonna have some skill that dispels those illusions, but it's gonna be more. I don't want to spoil anything. I don't want to spoil much. Man, I'm off to a bad start. Okay. Ah, you killed me again. I think of it as like acid that it's shooting. Oh yeah, I called it the acid river. Okay, let's get myself a weapon so I don't die. Oh! He snuck through. Actually, there are more spikes up on this section compared to down here. That makes sense. Ah, yummy. Have I tried using Streamlabs for chat? I could try that. Yeah, I'm using... well, this is actually the first time I've ever had problems with this chat system. So I'm using a Steam software called Sheep Chat. And I like how it displays. And it hadn't had any problems displaying the chat in any other stream up until now. So I'm not sure what happened today. I'm gonna have to... Maybe I can try like a physical connection. Because I can run an Ethernet cord to my computer and maybe that's causing problems. I'm not quite sure. Awesome game. If you're talking about Smash Bros. Melee, yes. If you're talking about my game, also yes. Thank you. I assume you're talking about Melee. I love Melee. I was really into Melee in college, but I had to stop because it hurt my hands. If you know, you know. A spider boss would be awesome. That would be awesome, but the problem with spiders is that they have 8 legs, and that makes hitboxes really complicated. So I don't know if I'll be able to do a spider boss. It might be my internet. So this section down here, I could go ahead and add the encounter. I haven't added it yet. Because I have this big open room. And I'm going to make it so that the bunyip jump out here into the room. So I can go ahead and add that. And what room is this? Will I add armor? No, there's not going to be anything. There's not going to be anything like that. Melee being hard on your hands. Don't know what you mean. I know. Let's see. We're going to do... I think it's A... No. It's C4. C3? C3. I have so many maps that it's hard to remember which is which. Okay. So the way that you make these encounters is I'm going to make this wall right here be a trigger. So I'll grab that. I'll grab like this one. I'm going to put that right here. Like that. And the trigger type direction is left. The challenge ID, I'll make this. I'll call it well right, I guess. Because it's the one to the right of the well. Have I played Binding of Isaac? Yeah, I played a bunch of it. The naming scheme for maps is pretty confusing when testing stuffs. Yeah, I mean, it is, but it needs to have some semblance of organization. So the reason I named it this way, there's method to the madness, I'll admit. I promise. It's because the game is set up in a grid fashion. So if I go over to the map, the game is a grid. Every map, like the map I'm in right here, and every map is like a letter and then a number. So the letter is which row. So if you're in row D, that's this bottom row. So D1 is this map. D5 is this map. C3 is this map. B5 is this map. So there is method to all of it. And then there's like the surface, there's the sky. So this could be like sky A1, sky B4. And that's the naming scheme behind it. But then on top of that, I wanted to also give like a code name to each map, like GD1 waterfall, GC3 town, and then spectacle. I think that helps a little bit with remembering, but yeah, it's not particularly intuitive. It's just seeing a bunch of letters, especially here in tiled, because if you look up at the top here, like it's just a whole bunch of letters and numbers, and man, it's not very easy for me to decipher that on the fly sometimes. It's kind of annoying. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep working on this. Well, right, and then we need to put the challenge in here. So here's an example. I don't really like the name of this challenge. I called it like well right. That's pretty bad, but it'll be fine for now. Well right. And then let's add the spawn points. I'm going to steal those from this one. So in order to make something spawn from the water, you need to have a pin like this, like spawn, and then spawn dest, like here. So I need both of these pins. Like this. And I'll bring them over to B3. Or, sorry, C3. So we're going to put pin spawn A right here. Oh, and then... How's anyone supposed to find the boss behind the waterfall? I don't know. I don't know. You gotta be pretty sneaky. I mean, that's kind of part of the is kind of part of it, is that you don't need to find the boss behind the waterfall. It's there's no goals in the demo. It's all kind of just play around with whatever you want, and if you find the stuff behind the waterfall, I think it's kind of fun. It's an exciting thing to find. Can you play the sky map? Not right now, because actually in this version of the demo, I had to take it out. It's not going to be in this version of the demo. I'm going to re-add it. It's going to come back. It's going to come back pretty soon, actually. But I really wanted to focus on the grounded portion first, because that's what the start of the game is going to focus on. And I need that. I need the beginning of the game to be perfect. So I've been putting all my time into the beginning rather than the sky portion, even though I really do like I love the sky area. I think it looks really cool. Any monsters can get to you when swimming. Yeah, the bunyip are supposed to be able to, but right now they can't. Right now they're kind of dumb. So I think I'm gonna take this one. The only reason there's stuff behind the waterfall is because when the first prototype came out, yeah, exactly, is that there was nothing behind the waterfall at first, and I'm like, well, they asked for it. I guess I'll put something there. And the rest is history. I'm gonna call this well right. What's a bunyip? Oh, I keep calling the bunyip are these guys. So I'm on the fence if I want to call them frogs or bunyip. So bunyip is like a mythical creature that exists in, like, I think it's Australian mythology. It's just like a swamp creature called a bunyip. And I'm like, well, that sounds cool. So I called it bunyip. But also, my game doesn't have very many proper nouns. Like, I don't need to call them bunyip. I could call them frog monsters, and that's also fine, because if I called them frog monsters, that's more clear because they jump like frogs and they ribbit. So calling them frog monsters is a bit more clear. Evil hoppers. I love that. The bunyip look like an owl. Yeah, it has a bit of an owl face and it has like the ears. When did you decide you would be able to go full-time as a game dev? It was... So really, it's not even YouTube income at all because my YouTube channel doesn't make very much money. My YouTube channel makes about $300 a month. In fact, I think I've shown it on stream before. I'll go ahead and show it again just so you can see. Where is this? Revenue. Here we go. Yeah, so my channel makes $300. So like this isn't enough to live off of. And in order for me to work full time as a game dev, because also I don't make any money from making games, I will make money eventually once Moonshire releases and I can sell it for money. I'll make some money from Steam that way. But right now, it's gonna be a while before I reach that point. So I'm doing my best to get this revenue up from 300, maybe up to like 500 or 1,000 over time. I'm not sure how high I can get it. That'll help a lot. But to answer your question, the way I was able to go full time was just from saving up money from my job. I saved up, like I lived so well below my means and I worked so much extra. I focused so much on my career strictly to make money so that I could save it all back so that one day I'd be able to do this and be able to confidently go into game development without having to worry about the financial aspect. Now, that being said, I am still trying to make money on YouTube. I do want this number to go up. I'm going to be producing more content. I hired an editor. I hired an artist. We're going to be making more stuff. I think that it's going to be okay in terms of producing income. But at the same time, game development is not very profitable. Even when you have a successful channel like mine, I'm still not making much. Do you need investments to keep game dev going? So personally, yes, that is how I'm keeping things afloat, is that I saved back so much money and I learned how to invest it wisely so that I can take some of that income per year and make it work. But I still have to live very frugally. I live well below my means still. And if I had a lifestyle, like I went out on vacations, I don't go on vacations, I don't go to restaurants. Well, I mean, I go to get fast food once in a while, but it's pretty cheap. Long story short is I don't go out, I don't spend money. I'm very, very frugal, and that's also part of the equation is I needed to be super mature about this in order to make it work. Because going full time with anything, with any business, it's a huge risk. And I'm able to take that risk because I don't have a family. I don't have a spouse and kids. I can just do whatever I want. Do I make anything off TikTok? No, TikTok pays even less. So I got 10 times more views on TikTok compared to YouTube, but it pays 10 times less. So the amount I made from TikTok was less than this per month. It was much less actually. And now I don't post anywhere close to as often as I used to on TikTok. So yeah, TikTok isn't really a money-making strategy. It's good for growing an audience though. Like PUA instead of Ghost Pole's voice. Yeah, exactly. That's a funny way to put it. How old am I? I am 28. And at the moment, I'm not planning on having kids, but, you know, something might change in the future. Who knows? But I don't remember why I went on that tangent. It's just that... Oh, yeah, someone was asking about having the confidence to go full-time. Yeah, it's a very tricky step. And it just involves saving up and making sure that you're safe. But also, if you do have a YouTube channel that pays properly, like if I did sponsors, I could probably do this more safely. What's my favorite monster that I've created in this game? Let's see. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and say it's the crocodile boss. So Ellie did the sprites for this bot. Oh, I screwed something up. Challenge 219. What happened? Challenge that wave? I don't know. I don't know what caused that crash. Kyle, do you date? Not at the moment, no. Bug fixing time, yeah, basically. It said, so what did that crash say? Am I able to reproduce that? It didn't do that a second ago. Yeah, it didn't break this time. Why would that happen? What was I doing? What was I doing in the game that caused that? Let's see. It said 219. Challenge.wave. .wave? So it said that I couldn't find a wave. Okay, so where do I initialize wave? Wave equals... self.wave. .wave equals... Yeah, why didn't it do this? It's supposed to do this line. That's weird. For some reason, it reset wave to be nil. Does it do that anywhere else? That's kind of fishy. I don't know. I hit the bell with the spear. Yeah, let's see if that's what caused it. That'd be really crazy if that's what the issue is. No way. Is it, maybe it's a save file, because I think this is a different save file. Challenge 228. So it's saying self.waves is nil. Oh, you know what? I think I did delete self.waves. I don't think that's the problem. It does have waves, though. Why does it say it doesn't? That's weird. You'll see if you can recreate it? Sure. Attempt to index field waves, a nil value. Why would it be nil? I mean, I can put in something like, if not self.waves, then return nil, but that doesn't really fix the problem. Like, there needs to be waves. I don't know how that's even possible. Like, this is probably just gonna break everything. Yeah, it just didn't work. It just broke. It just didn't work. Oh, you know what it is? I already beat the boss on that file. I already beat the boss. That's why it's doing that. It's because I already beat the challenge. That was the problem. That's still good to know. I need to fix that. Do I use singletons in the game? No. Somehow I managed to go through all of my computer science career and interviewing computer science career without properly learning what a singleton was. I still don't even know what it is. I still don't even know. I've heard that word plenty of times throughout the course of my career and in college, but I have never still learned what that means. So I don't even know what singletons are. I'm sure that if I looked it up and read about it, it would make sense, and maybe I have used them, but at the moment I just don't even know. It crashes. Yeah, I think that if you beat the boss and then come back and then try to fight him again, it crashes. So in this file, I did not beat him yet. So I might as well just, like, fight this guy normally. Ow. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I'm doing so bad. You gotta be a little bit more conservative with your slashes because you get locked into animations. See, like that. Oh my gosh, I'm so bad at my own game. Well, you know, maybe I should adjust the difficulty a little bit. Am I only using Lua? Yeah. You love how chubby the crocodile is? Yeah, I like him too. I love his design. I make most enemies round and chubby just because it's better for hitboxes. Like, if I turn on the hitboxes for this guy, look, he's like a rectangle. It just makes it easier to work with. Honestly, I should make his corners a little bit. No, actually, it's fine. Because when he's standing, he looks pretty good. Yeah, people call him hippo, people call him crocodile. I've been saying crocodile because he has, like, crocodile teeth. Although, I guess hippos kind of have the same crocodile teeth. See, once you get into the swing of things, this guy ain't so bad. I think that this move's a little bit too hard, though. His spin move. Oof. I tried to parry him right there, but I don't have a parry implemented. Because you can, like, press... That's what the parry animation is going to be like. Like this. Any graphics API? So for the shaders, I use GLSL. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Some of the connecting library... I mean, there's some open source... So Love2D is, like, written in C++, so there's all of that low-level code. And, like, the Steam connection DLLs probably have some C code or some C++ installed or included in the package, too. Wave versus wave. So both are valid. Wave refers to the current wave, and waves refers to the total list of all waves in the challenge. A boss fight only has one single wave, but it still has both waves and wave because I'm bad at my game. Let's try it again. It's basically a class that has a single object instance on a global level. Okay, sure. In that case, yes, because I have plenty of global objects that are used for holding specific values and functions. But the thing is, Lua is not an object-oriented language, and so singleton isn't even something that you can properly implement because there's no classes, there's no objects, there's no instances, but you have tables, and you can make tables into objects that, like, mimic object-oriented programming, even though it's not really that. So I'll show you an example of a singleton after I die again. Okay, let's see if I can clutch this out. Probably not. He has way too much health. Oh! Okay. Let's try and find a singleton. I'm sure I can find plenty, actually. Gotta eat my weapon more? Oh, yeah. I forgot the mechanics of my own game. With singleton, you only create one instance of that object, though. Yeah, that's how this is set up, too. Cutscene. Cutscene is an example of a singleton because cutscene is a single instance object. And you can start this cutscene, and when you start the cutscene, it changes a bunch of other states in the game. It changes the camera to follow the cutscene information. It creates those black bars. This is definitely an example of a singleton because it's treated like its own standalone class, but it's one single instance. There's only one cutscene. There's never two cutscenes in the same instance of the game. It's just the one. Let's go change my croc. So how much health does he have? He has 44 HP. We're going to change this to 32. Because my goodness, if I can't beat him, I don't expect anyone to be able to. Dash through him during the spinning attack. Yeah, that's normally the way to go, I think. There was something else I wanted to bring to that fight. I can't remember. Oh, excuse me. 20 more minutes. See, it's important for me to realize which attacks am I able to attack him on. And the other thing that's annoying is that sometimes you can attack his spin move, but sometimes you can't. Like, there, why didn't he fly back enough? That was weird. Okay, so you can always attack him after the bite, because he pauses for a while. I think that's the trick. It's just wait for him to bite, and then he waits. Ow. I tried to dodge. Oh my gosh, I'm choking. I'm choking. Yeah. Is this game made with Love 2D? Yeah, it is. Aren't assist options in the game? Yeah, well, I trimmed it down because I realized the only assist option that really matters is health. So I added assist mode, and it just gives you extra health. That's buggy. That doesn't look right. Making your player singleton can be a recipe for disaster. You know what? I think my player is a singleton by definition. Because the player, at the moment, is just a single global collider that I attach all these properties to. And now when I do multiplayer, I'm going to have to refactor this code to not be this way, so that there can be multiple player instances, whereas in this current implementation, there can only be the one. So, yeah, it is going to be a pain in the butt because I didn't plan it right. That's entirely true. This game is a surefire example of that. All right. Oh, you know what I was working on? I was working on this room. I meant to start this room because I was working on a different challenge. I was working on this one. Well, right. So let's put 2 waves of 2. We'll just keep it simple. No, actually, we're gonna do 1 and then 2 because this is actually before the Bunny Up dungeon. And we'll do no reward for now. How many tile sets do you make? Let's see. I can show you. So if I go to Moonshire Maps, I have a tile sets folder, and you can see all my different tile sets here. And I'll go ahead and zoom in again just so you can see what it looks like. There's like the cave tiles, there's the cliff tiles, there's the clouds, the houses. This is some interior stuff. We got the outside objects like the tent and the what do you call it? The carpet, the little rug, the ramparts. So this is like the gate and the tower. Then this one's the big one, terrain. It has like the cliff sides and the grass and the dirt. Texture. What else we got? We got the waterfall as its own tile set, and water is entirely its own tile set as well. So there's a few. There's more than a few actually. Will we be able to use a telescope later on in the game? Oh, it's a cool idea. That would be neat. If, like, the telescope had some kind of interactivity to it where you could walk over to it and then click on it and, like, look at the castle. I think that'd be neat. That's a really cool idea. What's my favorite indie game? I answered that last week. I think that I would say Hollow Knight. I'm going to think about that more because there might be another indie game that I like more than that. I'll think about it. Chef's Kits wishing me a bug for your launch. I hope so. Thank you. Appreciate you saying that. Oh, it's lagging. Oh, I already did this. Yeah, Matt says I'm invested already. Will it be available soon? You can play it on Steam right now, but it's a pretty old version, so. You bought Hollow Knight because of me? Maybe you like Tunic more? I played Tunic. I love Tunic, but I do like Hollow Knight more. The reason I don't like Tunic as much is because the combat, I don't like the combat in Tunic very much. I think it's kind of annoying. But I like the world and I like the puzzles a ton. It's really nice. And the vibes. And really the story. The story is very understated, and I like that. It doesn't have too much dialogue. In fact, is there any dialogue? I really like games that can tell a story without needing a bunch of dialogue. The Steam demo is already 8 months old. I mean, yeah, that's kind of a problem. And it's a problem that keeps getting worse because the longer I wait, it's like the more I'm hyping up this new release, but it's not, you know, it'll get here. It'll get here and it'll be worth the wait. If Lua traveled up to the moon, ooh, that'd be neat. Ooh, maybe like the final boss could be up on the moon. That'd be sick. Did I do this fight? No. I think the Great Sword's my favorite weapon. But I haven't put it in the game, or I haven't found a spot to put it in the game yet. I know where I want to put it, but I'd like it to be in the demo. Make the crocodile shoot stones out of its mouth. So, honestly, if you ask me, the crocodile is pretty hard already. I don't think I need to give him any more attacks. If anything, I need to make him easier, because he's meant to be an early boss. But things like the lightning boss, it can be really hard. Or I don't want to say really hard. The lightning boss can be hard, and like that burrowing worm enemy, that can be hard too. The black mage type character in the game. I always like the black mage aesthetic. Did I make an attack for the eye baby? I actually cut the eye baby, so I have the eye baby up. But I ended up just saying, it didn't seem like the eye baby was accomplishing anything else that the eye fly wasn't already accomplishing. So I decided just to stick with this one for now. But if I do decide that I want another eyeball-themed enemy, I would choose this one, because I like how this looks. And I like the little vine walking animation. I think it's really cute. Which tool to use to edit the map? It's called Tiled. Any reason why you go for a 2D pixel art game? Just because that's what I've been doing my whole life. I started with Game Maker, and there's like a pixel art sprite editor in that. And I used that for years and years and years, so that's just what I'm most used from when I was a kid. And then from there, I just continued using pixel art, and it makes sense to me. But also, you know, pixel art probably is an easier style of art compared to most. It's good for someone working on their own. What's my favorite Wii game? Let me think about that. I can tell you. Mario Galaxy 2. Galaxy 2 is my favorite. That game is so good. Okay, let's go back to this. Any cool Easter eggs? Sure, but people ask about Easter eggs once in a while, but I'm not putting anything in until the very end. Because the Easter eggs that I thought of like 6 months ago already are too outdated. Or I removed the content that they were a part of. So I don't really want to put any time into Easter eggs yet, because it's still unclear what content is going to be staying. Cutting content is something that not everyone really... It's something that you don't expect that you'd need to do. You'd think, oh, well, you're making a game. Obviously, you'd want as much content as possible, right? But no, for me, it's that all the content has to mesh with each other, and if something feels out of place, it's just going to make the game feel worse overall, so I don't want to take that risk. Pixar software, it's called Sprite. For GameCube? Metroid Prime. Or Melee. Probably Melee. I'd say Melee, actually. But I like Metroid Prime a lot. The hookshot. I do like the hookshot a lot. I like the hookshot because it could attach to any surface. That's just kind of cool. It breaks the game though, and obviously it was buggy. Reference other indie games. I think that'd be fun, but I would do it in a somewhat understated way. I don't want anything to be too blatant. Like, I was playing Split Fiction with my friends, and I love the references in that game, but I would not put Easter eggs that are that blatant. That was a little bit too on the nose for me. Have I played Thank Goodness You're Here? No, I've not. I play it for hours instead of dev sometimes. I mean, there are times where I get sucked into playtesting and time flies by. But yeah, one thing that I like about it is that I've been messing around with these mechanics and this player for years now, and I'm still not sick of it. If anything, I just get more excited about this game the longer I work on it, which I don't know, that seems out of the ordinary for game development. How does the game save mechanic work? Like, you have to hit the sunflower to save the game. Yeah, so if you walk over to a sunflower, there's just like, you can interact with it, and you just click on it, and it saves the game. It used to be an automatic thing where as soon as you got close to the flower, it would automatically save. And I do like that, but the reason I changed it is because I wanted it to be set up where you could change between your weapons. So like, well, I don't have any examples. Let me grab one. So let's say I had the boomerang. So here in this menu, it shows you which weapons you've found so far. And I want it to be possible so that you can switch between them just by going to a save spot. So if I open up this menu and I click on the greatsword, it's going to tell me that I need to change your weapon at a sunflower. So then I'll just walk back down and then save, and then it swaps your weapon, and then I can just continue on. And I did it like that because I don't want you to be able to swap between your weapons anytime. The weapons are meant to be kind of disposable, and then when you save, it respawns them. That's kind of meant to make it a little bit easier to swap between them so that you don't have to go searching for weapons too. That's the other thing, is I could make it so that like there's no weapons spawning at all. You just have to go to where the weapons are located and pick it up. I could make it like that, but it's just, that's too annoying. I wanted it to be the nice combination of good gameplay and not annoying, and thematically cool. Because really, I don't like people having to go into a menu to change between stuff. That's not something I ever wanted to do. But since you have to pair it with the sunflowers to make that process work, I think it ends up being okay. The best way to get good at game dev as a beginner is just to make tons of games. And when I say tons of games, I mean little, cheap, tiny, simple projects. Like remake Pong, because remaking Pong is hard. Like, some people might look at Pong and say, well, pff, that's easy. I can go ahead and make that. But it'll take you a month. It'll take you a while. Oh, yeah, I forgot I already beat the boss, so it crashed. That's funny. The controls seem very smooth. Thank you, I think so too. Well, let's check that well-right fight that I keep trying to test and forgetting about. So we're gonna go to UD4, I think? No? I forgot what my own things are. I'll just go to here. Okay. Let's go here, and then I'm just gonna wrap around. It works, I guess. Yeah, there's all kinds of ways to make it work. Let's give myself a torch. Oh, I've already been here. But anyway, since I added the challenge, and I added the spawn destinations, and I added this trigger, I should be able to just walk directly into it. The camera's a little bit off there. I can move that. And also, it only spawned one. I guess that's fine. Like, stun locked him with the fire. Whoa, that was weird. Wait. That's so cool. I burned one enemy and it spread to the other. Watch this. I'm gonna see if I can do that again. Oh, it's gonna be so hard to time. Oh, that's so cool though. I didn't mean to do that. Okay, watch this. Okay, I think that when I burn one enemy, it spreads. It did! Look, it burned! That's so cool! I didn't mean for that to happen. I'm gonna do it again. Come on. Yes, it works! That's so cool. That is amazing. I'm so proud of that. I need to show you why that works. That's amazing. The reason why that works is because I just changed the logic of how fires spawn. Well, that just came in this most recent update. The reason why that happened is because if I go to Spectacle... Ah, I already been here. I need to find a different file that doesn't have Spectacle completed. I'll show you guys why that happened. I guess I have to make a new file. So, in Spectacle, when the torches light up, it spreads across to all the bramble to unlock the spot. So yeah, like you see that there's this torch here, you have all these spike stuff, and I'm gonna do this fight. And after I kill this guy, we'll see that the fire spreads across the bramble. And unintentionally, I did not mean for it to happen. Apparently, it also spreads across enemies, which is really cool. I did not intend for that to happen. Like that. So, that same logic is applying to the enemies. I did not plan for that. That was an accident. But that's kind of cool. Whoa. True safety. That doesn't seem right. She can just shoot me. That was weird. Yeah, that's awesome. Is there some bug that has become a feature in the game? Well, I'd say that that's a pretty good example. I would say wave dashing is another one. So in the game, you can roll. And in an earlier version, actually in the Steam demo, you can pick up weapons by just pressing a pickup button like this. But then if you roll and then press pickup at the same time, you do like a dash like this. So I'd say that this is another unintended mechanic. I called it wave dashing like from Smash Bros. Melee. So regular rolling is this fast, but wave dashing is this fast. It's just a little bit faster. You can actually kind of see it when I get the timing right. Yeah. So that's a cool unintended mechanic. But since now it's been in the game for so long that now since I'm reworking the mechanics again, I've turned it into an intended mechanic where I kind of had to recode some things to make sure that this was still possible. But I think when people speedrun this game, they're gonna be doing this wave dashing everywhere because it's the fastest way to move. But no iframes, exactly. Getting the timing is tough. Whoa. Yeah, that's fun. Alrighty, we're about at the end of stream, so I think I'm going to start wrapping things up. Thank you all so much for being here. It turned out to be a really, really nice stream. We were able to work on a lot of different things. Got some work on these enemies taken care of and talked through some ideas for all of these little guys. And I really appreciate you, everyone. I really appreciate everyone being here and chatting with me. We got Bilal, we got Future34, and Adele, Andre, Novus, thank you so much for being here. Like I said, I do appreciate the support, and I will be back next week for yet another Moonshire Monday. I'm still proud of myself for not missing any Monday for the past, how long have I been doing it? Like 6 months. I'm hoping to keep up that trend, and I'm eager to keep up this this pattern. Thank you all so much for being here. Tez, Novus, Paul G, Bilal, Lunar. Thank you so much for being here. I will be back next week. Bye, everyone.